sir. And his wife, Megan Farrell. His sister, Ann Austin. And Tech Sergeant Farrell's daughters, his eldest, Courtney and Heidi Farrell. And everyone else in LRS, friends who came to celebrate this momentous day. Without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, it is my pleasure to introduce Lieutenant Colonel Albert Olag Bamero.
So good afternoon, everybody. Thanks for coming by. So today, we really gather to celebrate George's career, as well as his family, because, as we all know, it also takes a family to be able to serve in the military, because that is a support network that we typically fall back on and rely on. So, without further ado, I'll talk a little bit about George. So as you all know, George is somewhat quiet, right? I've gotten to know him over the last 2 years a little bit, but more recently, I had to sit down with George and I basically realized we had something in common, and that was our love for history. All right, so he's actually pursuing a master's degree in history right now at Arizona State. You did an undergrad in history also.
Yes, sir.
And political science.
U of M and political science.
So with that said, if we actually look back at his career, I'm going to go a little bit back into history. So he actually started off as a devil dog. How many of you know what a devil dog is? All right. So a devil dog basically is a Marine, right? And it's a name they got back as far back as 1918 during World War I, when they fought the Germans in France. So that's some history there for you. And really, I think their favorite quote that came out of that war was when the French were retreating or asking the Marines to retreat, and basically the Marines said, "Hell no, we just got here." So that's basically how that started. But anyway, George enlisted in the Marine Corps in the reserve in 1986. Spent some time there. Basically, you went in through the DEP program,
Yes,
right?
sir.
So spent a couple of years there. I would probably say about 6-7 years. You were
6 years.
6 years.
Yeah.
6 years.
6 years active reserve and 2 years IRR.
IR. Okay. And during that time, you were activated, and he served in the Philippines to help with some of the evacuations that were.
Operation Fiery Vigil.
Yep.
Eruption of Mount Pinatubo.
So spent some time there, and then basically decided to try things, his hand at other things, and got out, and ultimately found his way back into service after 9/11, and basically signed up in the Air Force Reserve. So spent about 4 years there before you were discharged. You discharged and then transferred to the Guard.
3 years, and then the BRAC hit, and then I transferred to the Guard.
You transferred to the Guard, and then eventually you came back here. So long story here is, are you sure you really want to retire? You know? I mean, it's like you get out, come back in, but anyway, I mean, he's had a very, he's had a pretty distinguished career. I've observed him over the time, short time that I've been here, which is close to 2 years. Quiet but dignified in his approach to all things, and you definitely will be missed. All right, like I've always said, until everybody who retires, just because you retire does not mean that you're no longer an airman. You're just an airman that we're paying not to show up to work. So think about it that way. So you'll be expected to uplift the values of a devil dog, a Marine, because the Marines go by once a Marine, always a Marine. All right, a Marine and an airman. So with that said, definitely appreciate all what you've done for the LRS and for the Air Force, and we wish you Godspeed and your family. And hopefully Courtney and Heidi might come knock in 18 when you turn 18. There'll be space for you here in case you decide to. I probably will be long gone, but there will be room here in case you ever want to consider serving our great country. So thank you very much, George, and I appreciate everything you've done. Thank you.
Places for the reading of the Commendation. All right, ladies and gentlemen, please rise for the presentation of the Commendation Medal. Attention to orders. Tech Sergeant George W. Farrell distinguished himself by meritorious service while assigned to the 445th Logistics Readiness Squadron, 445th Mission Support Group, 445th Airlift Wing, Wright-Patterson Air Force Base, Ohio. During this period, he provided expert support to the 445th Airlift Wing material management operations. While on an annual tour to RAF, Royal Air Force, Mildenhall, England, Sergeant Farrell flawlessly managed an inventory validation of 180,000 line items valued at over $150 million, resulting in zero discrepancies in support of the KC-135 refueling missions. Additionally, he directed the inventory of 105,000 line items of individual mobility equipment valued at over $280,000, which was vital to the 100th Logistics Readiness Squadron. Further, Sergeant Farrell led a 5-member team in the mobility equipment section that was below 75% staffing level and due to deployments, and was essential in saving 183 active duty man hours. He expeditiously managed 1,000 C-17 mobility readiness spares package line items with a 98% fill rate, directly contributing to the success of the maintenance squadron's missions. Utilizing his extensive supply experience, Sergeant Farrell assisted the wing clothing monitor, who issued over 1,000 uniform line items, expediting the clothing issue process and providing much needed supplies for the troops. Finally, he used his extensive training knowledge. Sergeant Farrell trained 5 reservists on proper tail number bin inventory practices, which resulted in a 10% improvement in the flight's upgrade training and improved the quality assurance rating from 85% to 100%. The distinctive accomplishments of Sergeant Farrell culminate a distinguished career in the service of his country and reflect great credit upon himself and the United States Air Force. Please stand standing for retirement order. Attention to orders. Department of the Air Force, Washington, D.C., Special Order Number EK 4645, Technical Sergeant George W. Farrell, effective 9 January 2017. You are relieved from your present reserve assignment and effective 9 January 2017. You are retired in the grade of Tech Sergeant by the order of the Secretary of the Air Force. I will read the certificate aloud. This is to certify that Technical George W. Farrell, having served faithfully and honorably, was retired from the United States Air Force on the 9th day of January 2017. Signed, General David L. Goldfin, United States Air Force Chief of Staff. Colonel O will be present. Sorry. And lastly, on that same certificate, there is the Presidential Certificate of Appreciation. And it reads, I extend my personal thanks and sincere appreciation and grateful nation for your honorable service to our country. You helped us maintain the security of our nation during a critical time in our history with the devotion of duty and spirit of sacrifice in keeping proud traditions of military service. Your commitment and dedication have been an inspiration to those who will follow in your footsteps. And for all Americans who may join me today in saluting you for a job extremely well done. My best wishes for you for happiness and success in the future. Signed, Barack Obama, Commander-in-Chief. Okay, at this time,